Hi, it's Jeff with Family Legacy Estate Sale with another in our series of videos on collectibles. I've got a treat for you today, and I'm going to talk a little bit about vintage 1970s Mego Planet of the Apes action figures. So before we get into it, if you like these videos, please make sure you like or subscribe to our videos. We're putting out videos all the time on collectibles, and I think you'll find them interesting. So for those of you that are in my age group, Mego was a huge part of our childhood in the 70s. Mego created these 8-inch action figures, which were really the standard for much of the 1970s. And they had figures from superheroes to Wizard of Oz, TV shows, but they also made a complete line of figures for the Planet of the Apes, which the Planet of the Apes was really big from the late 60s into the 70s. And it's actually made a nice comeback with the movies that have come out in the last 10 or 15 years. So the franchise is alive and well. The figures themselves are interesting in that the original movie came out in the late 60s, 1968, I believe. The figures came out in 1974. And let me touch on some of the inconsistencies of the figures. TV show made 1974 versus the movie 1968. First of all, here's an original Dr. Zaius, and it's in really nice condition. In this series as well, there was a astronaut figure, and this happens to be complete with his helmet. There was no named astronauts from the original movie as part of these. They didn't have a Taylor figure or Landon or any of the other original 3 astronauts. You've also got Zira, which obviously was in the first 5 movies. And then you've got Cornelius, who was also in the first 5 movies. So, these are consistent with what was in the original movies when they made these figures. But here's where the inconsistency lies. In 1974, there was a television show made, 74, 75, on the Planet of the Apes. And they introduced 2 new astronauts, Burke and Verdon. And the TV show only lasted a year. Okay, but these were issued at the same time as the Cornelius and Zira figures, and there's no crossover. Cornelius and Zira did not appear in the television show that Burke and Verdon did. Actually, Roddy McDowall, who played Cornelius, was in the TV show, but he was Galen. Okay, he was not Cornelius. And so again, there's some just really inconsistencies to the toy line. There's 3 or 4 soldiers, and this is just kind of a generic soldier ape. And this guy's complete with his rifle. And then there's Urko. And again, Urko was in the television series, not the original movie. Okay, certainly there was apes that looked like this in the original movie, but there was nobody named Urko. And then finally, there's Ursus, and he was kind of a lead general type of ape. But again, this guy was just from the television show. So, again, I don't want to beat a dead horse. There's some inconsistencies to the toy line. They introduced really 2 different types of characters and sets of characters from 2 different movies and television shows. There was also a line of tree houses and thrones and battle wagons and battering rams and all that kind of thing as well. I don't have those in my collection. I'm more of an action figure guy, not all the play sets and accessories. But they're highly popular. Your typical ape figure, and let's just use Cornelius here for an example. If you get a nice Cornelius, maybe without the weapons and that kind of thing, but if the fur on his hands is intact, you can get him for probably about $35–40 now. A figure like Ursus is going to cost you more. So a loose figure from him, if the leather's intact and it's not worn, this is a real nice example, you're probably going to pay about $60 for that. So they're an affordable collection. There's not that many of them. There's only about 9. So if you're interested in the Planet of the Apes, it's a nice collection you can put together rather inexpensively. Of course, if you want original weapons with them, you're going to pay more for that. If you want to have original boxes, in the original boxes, of course, then you're going to get into bigger dollars. But there are replacement boxes that people have made, and if that's your cup of tea and you want to put them in replacement boxes, they are available. So, be on the lookout for Planet of the Apes figures if you're a fan. And if you have, keep a lookout for future videos of ours. We're always posting videos on different collectibles, mostly from the 60s on to current. We'll talk to you soon.